So on behalf of Latvia, I expect a very constructive meeting to consolidate EU unity, both for continuous support to Ukraine, but also an important block is to constrain Russia's war-fighting capabilities. We will discuss with Minister Kuleba, Ukraine's minister, also the road to the next peace summit, especially what is Ukraine's plans, the next steps, how can we help with outreach and all the other means. And of course, lunch with the European Investment Bank and the discussion on the Middle East. So those are the main points, and for Latvia all are equally important. So that is what we are here for.
Any new ideas on how to lift the Hungarian veto on the Ukraine support?
I cannot possibly comment on a particular member state and their stance, but certainly in our view it's time to move ahead, both on the European peace facility. We are expecting quite a significant amount of money to be returned to us that we have invested in favor of Ukraine in terms of military supplies and all the others. But also there are the next steps that have to be made with the G7, with 50 billion, with the profits and so on and so forth. So there are obviously quite a number of points that need to be unresolved. Let's put it that way.
Do you expect the U.S. political situation?
Hi, Terry.
Do you expect the U.S. political situation to dominate, at least in the hallways today? And are you comfortable? You know, you've met Vice President Harris, I'm sure. I mean, are you comfortable?
And I met, I think, everyone. Exactly. But there is no particular agenda point on the U.S. But the cooperation and the link and the relationship is so important, both with regard to support to Ukraine, constraining Russia, but also the Middle East. So we are still in favor of President Biden's plan for the ceasefire and for the next steps. So we actually really do what we can in terms of advancing that.
Do you think that the EU and NATO can prepare for a possible Trump's presidency?
For all of us, it's the same. We will work with whoever is democratically elected in the U.S. It's very clear. We have had in the European history various partners in the White House, and we will work with whoever is elected. Again, let's remember the Trump administration previously was actually good for European defense. They put more money, more troops in Europe. You know, European Reassurance Initiative was actually very strong and very good, also for the Baltics. So I don't expect any surprises. It's going to be different if that happens, but again, we are there to work with the White House.
Do you think it's a good idea to convene a Gymnich meeting in Budapest end of August? If there's a meeting, would you participate?
I cannot comment on particular meetings. We are evaluating the need to attend informal councils on an ad hoc basis, one by one. So, depending what the issues are and what the substance is. All right. Thank you so much.
Wait, one more question on sabotage. I understand that's on the formal agenda.
We have worked with the EU partners on creating a proper sanctions regime for Russia's hybrid activities. So we'll discuss that today.
What would Latvia like to see?
We hope for it to be confirmed.
What kind of measures? It's a very
there can be before adopting it. It wouldn't be proper to release it to the public, but there are some substantive measures that we really look forward to adopting, because Russia's activities across the board. It's not only in the Baltics. I mean, we have seen in other countries from Germany to UK and elsewhere that they are doing covert intelligence activities, sabotage. Everything from lawfare to jamming to cyber crimes and so on and so forth.
It's very difficult to attribute, though, as you well know.
There's a need sometimes to attribute, sometimes not, depending. The main thing is that we know.
Minister.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Minister. Hello, Minister. I heard what you are from Kuwait TV.
Yeah, okay.
I heard what you were talking about, but there is no secret that the Democrats supported more the transatlantic relationship, the NATO, more than the Republicans. We hear what Mr. Trump is preparing for Ukraine. What you make out of this, you can't ignore that Latvia, the Baltic state, depend on this partnership. So are you prepared for this radical change that Mr. Trump is promising? I know you said he did something good, but he's preparing for something
You know, we diplomats don't speculate because it's important to assess oneself and to adjust action and to prepare depending on the facts. And again, Mr. Trump expressed him in a very different ways than some other U.S. presidents last time when he was there. We hear various statements on the campaign trail, like in many countries. And pre-election stage is pre-election stage. Once there is administration, we will work with whoever's there and make sure that the transatlantic link is strong and that defense spending is there for all the allies and that NATO is strong and relationship is strong. And it's not only about the troops, it's about trade, it's about international engagement and so on.
What could be done concerning Ukraine to push the agenda for, or to influence the agenda for the United States?
There are various tracks on Ukraine. One is to constrain Russia. It's about our security, it's about Ukraine, because constraining Russia's warfighting capabilities is essential not to let Russia reconstitute. And that relates both to transatlantic partners, US, but also Canada, but also UK and other partners around the world, including in the Gulf region and elsewhere. Sanctions is the second way. Third is to have our own defense capabilities, defense industries that is able to produce what we need to fill our capability gaps in accordance with NATO defense plans. But also, indeed, a very practical cooperation in support to Ukraine. And what can be done immediately is to lift restrictions to allow Ukraine strike those areas where the Russian planes are lifting off, to strike those areas from where Russia is attacking Ukraine. It doesn't mean that Ukraine is not gonna observe very clear sort of self-discipline. They've been exemplary in actually applying sort of limits and not provoking the situation. But limiting Ukraine in its self-defense is not right in our view, so we will be keeping pushing for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.